Okay. So Roger made the amendment. Roger made the motion, Ron, second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nays? Motion carried. Approval of minutes from June 23rd, 2025, and approval of minutes from August 11th, 2025. I will let the secretary comment on minutes.
Okay. Is there a need for me to read them, or has everybody had an opportunity to read them?
Guys,
I can certainly read them if you would like me to.
I'm all right reading it myself.
Okay,
Yeah, they're short.
I've
Read anyway.
I've read them. Don't have them with you.
the only thing I'm forgive me for smiling. The upper part, the first half, misspelled my name, but the second half, you got it right.
That's
What one is that?
The current one, the most recent one, August 11th.
Boodin?
Is there an R in one of them?
No, I don't.
Was that August 11th?
Yeah.
Then my apologies then.
No,
I say it right then, all right. Go ahead.
I
My apologies.
right here.
Okay.
Made special note of that because I'm wrong the previous.
Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead.
So if everybody's had a chance to read those, and if there's no problems with them, or changes, or corrections,
No, I read the ones along with 11th, and it looked pretty good from the 23rd.
Let's have a motion to approve the minutes for 23rd and August 11th of 2025. It's a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of June 23rd and August 11th as submitted here.
I will second the minutes for June 23rd and August 11th, 2025. Any discussion? Right? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion so moved. Old business. Further discussion and review on the STR, which is short-term rental ordinance as presented by the Lyon Township Board. Where do you want to start? Now, Dan brought up an idea. That was to, I think, start off by maybe there's 9 pages on this ordinance. A couple options that we can suggest. We can read them out loud. And then note what's in red. For some discussion. I feel that maybe, and it's time consuming maybe, but this is going to be a little more in depth compared to the chicken ordinance that we did with. This is very complex. This current board and maybe consider reading, like say it says, what section 1, the purpose, read it out loud. Get down to section 2, section 3. And read out what it said and note what in red. If everybody in the audience has the same thing. I'll read it up to you guys if you want to look at. We can look at what's in. This is from the township. Their recommendations. And their proposal to amend. We can just get that and read that only. So I guess maybe we need to set the stage where you guys are comfortable at. And I got a lot of question marks that you didn't go further. There's 9 pages of it. And
And I'm not sure, I want, we could approach it to read everything in red because that's the changes they want to make
Okay,
to what's voted.
all right. Definitely for people walking. This is really important. The ones in red are add-on. Well, in this case here, I've got the old one in my left hand, and the right, my right hand. And let's just say for discussion for a moment, section 3, down to B, it says dwelling. But the one that you have in your hand will say section B is in. Section B in the original says dwelling. The dwelling is section C. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, ma'am. That's what I mentioned, that they've added that on in red. So that's what Roger's saying. Maybe we could just read what's in red. Yeah,
I guess we have to take each section that's in red to what they removed and what's in red and discuss it, I guess. I don't know what makes the difference.
we can try that. That could probably be helpful. All right, but Roger mentioned we should discuss what's in red. And make a motion for that.
No, emotion, we look at everything that's in red or clouded to see if we want to keep the cloud or keep the red.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, carried. All right, section 3. Boarding, lodging, and rooming houses. A building other than a hotel where lodging, meals, or both are offered for compensation. But they're adding on to section 3.
We're gonna move on from that.
You got that one?
Yeah.
Okay, now we can move on to section.
What's the decision though?
How,
Go with that or? I think each time there's a change. More than just read it, I think we should decide as a board. Do we accept that change or do we strike that?
That's what we have to do.
all right, we can do that.
So is that? You should be asking the question.
All right,
Something that wanna keep that.
if you want to do it by each page, read by read, I'm fine with it. Boarding, lodging, and rooming housing. Building other than a hotel where lodging, meals, or both are offered for compensation.
Well, if it's referenced later. In the. Ordinance, then shouldn't get time.
There was something else,
Definition for that.
there was something else in here about compensation. Can't place it right now.
Yeah, right. I think that, right. Yeah.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
So I mean, to mark the towns that as we've agreed, or do we need to have a vote on it?
I think we're gonna have to do a quick vote on each one. We're being videoed and taped, and I don't want the township board to come back and say that we didn't do our due diligence. We did it on the chicken, you saw how that happened, how that came about. All right, well, we're discussing it.
What do you want from us?
I want to vote. On
I vote yes. Hey, leave it.
get a motion. Well, should we do a motion on each one of these? Vote on. All right, I'll make a motion to accept section 3B as a proposal. Need a second.
A second.
Roger seconds. Now we can discuss it. We've been discussing it, so if we're all done discussing. All in favor of section 3 adding B, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. A1 is done. Get a little more difficult as we get into it. J. Short-term rental. A dwelling unit in which overnight accommodations are provided or offered to transient guests for compensation. Often advertised and booked through websites including but not limited to Airbnb, VRBO/HomeAway, FlipKey, VacationRentals.com, Booking.com. The rental of a dwelling unit or portion thereof for a period from 1 night to 29 nights shall be, and somebody can look that up, prima facie. Evidence that the same is being used as a short-term rental. A short-term rental shall not be considered or construed to include improved bed and breakfast establishments. Hotels, motels, resorts, long-term tenant housing. Example, single-family dwelling or multiple family dwelling such as an apartment that is rented to tenants on a permanent or semi-permanent basis or campgrounds. K.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll working my way down. Special events, this is in black. Outdoor parties, lawn parties, weddings, family reunions, bachelorette parties, receptions, or any other events that exceed the maximum number of occupants allowed. So, here's K. Short-term rental. The commercial rental of a dwelling unit for a period of time for 1 to 29 nights. This does not include approved bed and breakfast establishments, hotels, motels, tenant housing, or campgrounds. L. Special events, a temporary short-term use of land or structures such as outdoor parties, lawn parties, weddings, family reunions, bachelorette parties, and receptions. So, let's have a motion to discuss K and L.
I make a motion, we discuss K and L.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Oh, we have a second. Okay.
So here's my question, all right? What's the intent? That they're doing, taking away J? And then what's the intent for changing K? What are we missing? Why they want to make such a change? There's a lot of verbiage in there, some of it redundant. So what's the intent?
Okay. The only thing I have a feeling is the township board, someone on that board came up with K and L. I can't explain the reasoning behind it? Or why they did it?
Can anybody make the comment?
Well, not really. I'm rather loose on that, but we got a lot to cover.
Township ordinance. Township out of here. It's the ordinance.
All right, go ahead.
They've had over almost 4.5 years now.
State your name so you can be recorded. Just state your name.
Had,
Okay.
so, they're very fast, so I compared, when I picked one, it was not the one with the red, but another one they gave me at last week as well. I compared it, it looks like the vast majority of Lyon board, previous board, pretty almost identical. There are changes very here between the two, but not much, so does that give you any direction that they can work with?
That's from Roscommon Township?
Mm-hmm. And they're happy. Got a question, give you some input later on that, why it's working so well with this thing.
So you're saying J, for discussion, J and K is in the Roscommon Township ordinance. And the previous administration copycatted, right? Is that what you're saying? Pretty much.
They looked at the townships that are in the ordinance
That's right.
and did a compilation, whether it was that one or right or all the townships.
That's good to know.
Well, yeah, in the Roscommon Township, J is short-term rent, and K is special event. They were all fine. But so the same as the red, the same as the black. Not working with one they gave me last week, updated April 5, there's one rather. No, it's a line.
We'll allow that, but we'll try and keep it short though, because there's a lot here for us to go through. I may not get it all done tonight either. Go ahead.
Paul Raska. So my understanding of why that's in there is, I'm trying to find it right now. There was a budget that they put aside of what it was gonna cost to, they were gonna have a website that was gonna look at all these different websites, find out who was listing houses for rent in the area. It's very expensive to have it. And that's how they came up with the price of $600 for the license fee, because they were gonna use they were gonna use a site that was gonna check all these websites and see if houses were being rented that didn't have licenses. That's my understanding of why that might be in there. Because they were budgeting a whole bunch of money.
Something like this, you know, anything.
All right.
This is trying to define, what does a short-term rental mean? The old verbiage was quite lengthy. And it did talk about this Airbnb, they used it as, if you're renting, you're probably advertising on some of these sites. But they've shortened it now to, my concern is, okay, on the short-term rental, one of the big changes in there, they've shrunk it down, but it says commercial rent. Okay, somebody company is commercial defined in the definitions now. That's a new term. It was never included in that. So when I just did a quick Google search of what they considered a commercial rental, it's very different than a homeowner's house that they are now renting out. I'm not a commercial property. I am not a restaurant. I'm not a bed and breakfast. Nobody's requiring me to have commercial licensing or commercial taxes. And so I'm concerned that commercial, I don't know the intent of why they added commercial unless it meant you were advertising it as if it were commercial, like Commercial means Airbnb, VRBO, that, they just didn't want all those listed, and they tried to shorten it.
I find,
That's a,
You need to have you state your name so it can be recorded.
It's Lyon.
I just find no reason to change what was there originally to the new one. I don't know that the new one adds anything. In fact, I think it makes it a little bit more complex. We don't understand it as much as Chris said, because they added the commercial rental and it's not defined any place. And so why don't we just stay with the way that it was, the previous definition of short-term rental and the previous definition of special event. I see no problem with either of those two.
Okay. So, can somebody look up PRIMA fascia, what that means?
Sure.
And I'm of the same opinion that, especially K, the word commercial,
yes.
all of us know that's like a business.
Yeah.
But it's not open, it's not like a retail business.
I have the definition, it said the predictive based on the first impression, except that it's correct. Well,
Well, let me ask you, why didn't they just put that in there instead of?
Paragraph that was original.
So we got to choose one or the other thing. Wait. Or kind of on.
Well, the original showed the same thing right there.
No.
Okay, so what Dan's saying, you're saying K and L conflict with actually with the original on J and K. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, leave the definitions for short-term rental and the definition for special event as they originally were.
Okay. What we need, we,
I mean, you can change the letters because, I mean, the letters are irrelevant because, you know, we added a B here. We don't have to say, well, now, you know, what was J has to be K and what was K has to be L. That I think is self-evident if you inserted a previous one. I think what we need to do is say, clarify which short-term rental definition we prefer and which special event definition we prefer.
in other words, we can say, we prefer to keep J as short-term rental as is and K under special events as is.
I mean, that was my recommendation.
Okay.
We have to.
Do we want to say anything? And I'm just asking, do we want to say anything? That we are opposed to the changes as noted?
However you want to verbalize it, that's fine. I mean,
We want to make it as simple as we can,
well,
make it friendly.
let's just say, leave it alone. Leave what you got there and.
Let's just leave it alone.
All right, then we'll, yes, ma'am, go ahead.
my comment is regarding the new L, the definition of special events adds the word temporary. That's the difference between the original K for special event and the revision. So I like the word temporary in there. I mean, what if some place wanted to have the same outdoor party every weekend? I don't know. That's the difference I've seen or two. I prefer the red.
Well, just remember this, whatever is decided here. And we're gonna try and do that best we can. The township board is ultimately the final say so. Okay, now, I'm also saying this, that, let's say, we're gonna just look at keeping J and K intact, no changes. If they wanna go in and say, well, we want special events to be temporary, they can do that. We're not, we've already said that we're keeping J and K intact. And I think that's what Ron's saying, let's just maybe try and make it simple. So I'll say this,
Mark's next.
short-term rental, J, and special event K, keep it the same, intact, no changes. Make that motion, wait a second.
Before you do, Chris. What do you say?
I think that L does add the word temporary. But it also it's rid of any other events that exceed the maximum number. So if you only have 6 max occupants, the original document says case, but says any event that exceeds the maximum number of occupants allowed, which you could argue one way or the other. I mean, let's say you run a place and there's 6 people there, you have 4 kids and 2 adults, and you have a birthday. Somebody is staying at the South Campground, they want to come over, stay on property for 4 hours, participate in your kid's birthday. All of a sudden, the original language, you're in violation of maximum number of occupants.
No, it's not limit. That's just saying that a special event, it's going to be called a special event if you added in people greater than, I mean, the number of people greater than what the occupancy is.
So it's your 6 or whatever your X, it's the next for fun,
It's,
as a special.
I mean, that's what the wording says.
But it's
Then they
removed.
did remove any events.
But for the benefit of the audience, Paul and Chris are rentals. Are there anybody else here has any rentals? Okay, I'm just mentioning because they do have rentals, so they have obviously some experience that we should look at, consider very seriously.
So
Just some people who
Well, that too. But
So are you saying if it can only sleep 8 people, it shouldn't be any more than 8 people on that property? Then
That's not what it says. It says that it would be defined as a special event.
special event would include if you had more than
You could have,
number of approved occupants for that.
if you're approved,
It's confusing.
if you're approved for 8 occupants and you have a party for 25 people, all that's saying is that's a special event. We're just defining special event. Later on, it talks about special events in here.
It's restricted. Especially.
This isn't restricting, it's just saying
I have a chance to read it all. See a good one.
These are good stuff. Later, you know, they're fun.
Yeah.
I second that, then.
No, you made the motion to not,
I made a motion to keep J and K intact, no changes. And then I asked for a second.
I second.
I've been, Roger? Put it around to that.
Roger, second.
Round that second.
Well, we've had our discussion. When anybody else want to discuss here on the board?
No.
I'm call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
All right.
All right. Page 2 out of the way. Running as we go. Guys, on section 5 under A, where it says responsibility. The owner of a proposed short-term rental shall apply for a short-term rental license through the submission of a short-term rental license application. Under required information, application, a dwelling unit shall be considered registered and licensed, allowing a short-term rental may be issued by the designated township official upon owner providing an application containing all of the following information. It has abbreviated the letter S. Are they leaving it up to one township official to make the decision, or the board makes that decision?
One or more township.
Make that decision. If there's any decision by a board, it's got to be by the majority, not just one. That I remember. No one board member can arbitrarily just say, I want this done, and that's it.
Following this ordinance, it's not ordinance, determining the application approval.
It never got that far.
Did
I never,
turned it on in the paperwork, that septic. Inspected and it all.
think the board came up with who's gonna be the hammer at this point, and I don't think it was Harry. But maybe I'm wrong here.
Ron, I think it was Harry at the time. He was the only ordinance officer they had.
It was, yes. But remember, at this point, are we not talking about proving the application? We're not talking about going and saying you don't meet the criteria. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay, so I honestly don't think Harry had that behind him to say, I'm the approver. He may be the hammer. And again,
Okay.
maybe we're talking about a moot point and going off.
It is now, but it's.
Yes,
He went through it. So we get this done, this done. At the end of all of it. Documented as one. The fifth, then.
but you know,
What got permission.
that's the question. I don't know. That's the question. I don't.
There was no license given out. Unless you paid the application fee.
It's,
I know, but we didn't get to it. The only thing they were getting to was trying to get the 0 to 50 or whatever it was, the 40, whatever.
At this point, I don't know. We're in the weeds to say,
I know Gary was the one receiving the documents, making sure that they met the intent back. Or that. Or
okay,
Number 7 says proof of ownership such as indicated on property tax bill or deed. That's in red. What's wrong with that?
Nothing, that's why I say, take a motion to accept that.
Number 7. Okay, you,
I'll second it.
Dan seconds. Sure, made the motion. Any discussion on 7? Section 5, number 7. Any discussion on it? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Carried.
Are you discussing any numbers that aren't red?
No, not the present, no. Now, also in red here, I noticed, right under it, under 8, they wanted that word removed. I think that's what they talking about. Let me read it.
Yeah, they removed it.
They removed it, but do we need to remove it?
Do we need to?
Yeah, yeah. Any deed restrictions or use limitations in the subdivisions, covenants and restrictions or the condominium master deed and slash or bylaws applicable to the short-term rental. They want the word removed premise.
Personally, I'm not sure what it adds or subtracts.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
I could go either way on that big deal.
Okay,
Fine.
we'll leave it the way it is. Instead, they got word removed. We need to do something, vote on either accepting that or not keeping the word premise in there.
I vote we leave it.
We had a second on that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? That's carried. Good. All right. Thank you. All right.
And that was to leave it
Leave it
as
Yeah.
was?
as
Or,
is.
or was
Right.
it to, okay, leave it.
Leave number 8 as is. Number 11. Number of off-street parking spaces provided for the dwelling unit. 12, the maximum number of occupants to which the owner intends to rent the dwelling unit in any given rental period. In red. Number 11. The maximum number of occupants to which the owner intends to rent dwelling in any given rental period.
Just the same as the old number.
That's redundant, isn't it?
I think that's that.
Bigger.
Just change the number.
Okay, thank you,
All right.
Chris. Thanks, Chris. 12. The application of $25 fee may be updated by a township board resolution as needed. The number, I want to go back to 11, the number of off-street parking spaces provided for the dwelling unit. I have correspondence from Kevin Hobbs, treasurer of Lyon Township. Notes here regarding parking issues. That's our township official. And
Yes.
Kevin Hobbs is our treasurer for Lyon Township. He mentioned that parking issues could be a problem. For instance, to read the quote, is the maximum occupancy. This is what he looks at. His opinion on this. Maximum occupancy shall be 2 persons per bedroom, no +2. This will cut down on the parking issues.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to that.
No, but
That's 3 pages further on.
but then number 11 says the number, okay, help me out. Number 11 says the number of off-street parking spaces provided for the dwelling unit. How are we gonna answer that?
A lot of different places that, different types of places. Some have very limited, so that comes acreage. Others that on their property have plenty of off-street parking that's on their well. For the people that don't have a lot of parking, some got side by side. For me at least, as I were issues of, I would want these parking spaces on the road. Spilling over into other, getting right away from
right.
that. So they did that.
Could I share the wording from Last Township on that?
Go ahead.
Drawing of the premises, which the short-term rental will be located, that includes all and the location where all motor vehicles, boats, campers, premium.
That was also in the original. That's the board.
Yeah,
I guess maybe.
But what you read is just number 10 above it, right? Item above.
Three different items.
Minutes. Like maybe 11, that might have been redundant.
yeah.
So, 10 above. GC, okay, so 10 above says a drawing of the premises.
So you're right. It's the first time I looked at this, because it gave me this, no, I'm saying.
You're right, Betty. So the difference, if I may add, is I think that 10 says on. And 11 was an attempt to say the number of off street, so that does off street mean not on.
Right, so that, I could take it as not on it.
What you're saying is, they don't have enough parking where they're at, they can go around the corner to an off street where maybe they can park. Or not park.
We had that, and if somebody had a fire, no, fire would not be that much cost.
Well,
Is it worded wrong off street? When I.
Street parking.
Any designated parking area or facility, a separate from public street and roads, providing a safe and convenient place for vehicles such as driveways, parking lots, the local garage. These facilities can be private or public, various payment options, but it's not parking on the road. Off streets.
That's correct.
I think that's important that we don't lose them. Because even if you draw it, you're not designating saying, I can only have 4 cars there or 3 cars there. To anybody.
So what would someone do? They would draw streets all in the neighborhood and where there's parking lot? Is that what you're telling the landlord to do?
We're not telling the landlord to do anything at this point. We're trying to figure it out.
That is kind of the best solution. Two park.
Number 10, a drawing of the premise in which the short-term rental will be located that includes all buildings on the premise and the location where all motor vehicles, boats, campers, trailers will be parked. And number 11 just says off-street parking spaces provided for the dwelling unit.
Isn't any legal parking space a legal parking space for a lorry? On that block?
If there is legal street parking, I would think that you don't even have. You're approaching on a need, or if your assumption is that road that was a public street or something.
Well, any neighbor doesn't own the parking on the street.
Okay, but when you live on a 2-track, that is no longer 2 lanes wide, it's Greensboro end, and it's 1.5 wide, they park on it, that's encroaching and getting a. You were where the fire was. Not happening, when I'm like 8 cars across. So maybe the board chose to strike that, not bring up the. Either the possibility or the. Around. Street parking, they just have to include where you're dwelling. Where will you return?
It should be off street, it should be on property parking.
So, something, and for me, it reminds me of, it's brought up, comparing some of these to what you allow at the state park. I don't know if you've ever camped at the state park, you are given a lot.
Mhm.
That is your lot.
you can have park off that lot. You can't come in there and get all your stuff, it has to be contained. And that's what I think this wording should say, okay, you're gonna draw this, but the park, all those cars need to be contained within that lot, it's like you're saying. We are to state park, put all our police cars on our lot because we had attacked. Not allowed. I think they're a lot. So you think this is where we gotta make sure all these definitions are of what we want, what they want to say. From there, from that. But I read that then. So the take away about already and yeah. Right, next to on the premises and the location where.
Yeah, it's true.
The only difference between 10 and 11 is that 11 don't have the property owner list or identify a number. The number of parking places.
But they're added to on the off street. But that's what off street is property.
Yeah, so that, and then I have, I didn't read if you don't say the number. Spaces, so you're defining the number, I think that. Define the number, there's a stat.
Says it's hard.
No, I'm, come back, guys. Go back here. You know, Ron, Dan just brought up something about on-street parking. You know what you just said?
No, no. I'm agreeing with this lady here saying that they should define how many parking places they have on property. And they really shouldn't be, my opinion is they shouldn't be allowed to park all up and down the street.
Say number of on premises that be the same language as 10.
Cause that off street is using a lot of you.
Sure.
Off streets can do with everything.
Yeah.
Off street to me means how many spaces do you have on your?
That's why I suggest.
Maybe that's what you're supposed to do when you come in for your application.
And I think that's what I would have to go back. I think we did have to say how many approved parking spots and then draw a map showing how you're gonna put that in there if you will, but the off-street name should be changed to on. Right,
That's all. I did, that's a good one.
and then the biggest drop block.
And I didn't really like.
Don't get through that, make you kind of
So,
a lot of them, you have how many.
Okay,
You've identified.
back here. Number 11. It looks like we want to change it to the number of on-premise spaces provided for the dwelling unit. Do we concur?
Yes.
yes.
Yeah, okay. We didn't, we had a motion in a second, didn't we?
Well, we didn't, not on that.
All right, then let's do it properly. I'll make the motion on section 5, number 11, to read the number of on-premises spaces provided for the dwelling unit.
Second.
Ron seconded. Any other further discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Carry. All right. This number 12, application fee at $25. Fee may be updated by township board resolution as needed. Paul and Chris, what was your application fee?
It was gonna be $100. I remember. Well, 100 for the application fee, 500 for the license.
Remember I said that earlier?
We did.
Well, no, I don't wanna be right, but I just remember something about that went from $25 up to 100. And you said 250, now it's 500. Then the next one says, a Lyon Township approved short-term rental 1-year annual license fee of $300 is payable after the effective date of this ordinance. The annual license fee is not refundable. The fee may change by the township board resolution as needed. So this looks like the application is $25 and the annual license 300. Is that how we're reading this?
Yeah.
Heard what you were. So let me ask you, are you comfortable with that?
I don't think so.
I'm just asking. I'm asking you,
Yeah, I think it's too high too.
come up with a number. Give us something.
Why, that's one way to rental. It's just,
Too high.
why can't park that, like when it's 500 and you go to other townships, like. Other townships have been good reading about, and against you, we got pockets of their township. They're doing it, but. Shouldn't some of that fee help to go up for the ordinance officer, to cover that ordinance officer?
Yes.
I feel that fee should be covering that. Taxes, people renting places out, it should be covered. It's not gonna cover the whole thing, but it's gonna offset. Some of that.
It's extra work for you.
And I think the fee at 500 offsets it. What's the cost of inclusion? It's in the middle of woods, it gets all the time. It's, you're saying.
You might be talking old days, but we're not getting that now. We're gonna. No, I'm not. Steve, on the water. I'm telling you now that it's not that high times.
I'm just saying, I think it should be not just a, now.
Question was, ladies, and gentlemen, a question I posed to you was, what number do you want to come up with?
Two.
Fine.
Can I say something about the ordinance officer?
Can we wait? Wait,
That's why you're coming up with the fee, $300 to help pay his wages. The ordinance officer doesn't have as much power as what you guys think. He can't do anything about noise. He can't do anything about parking. He can't do anything about barking dogs or fireworks. Law enforcement has to be called for that. The ordinance,
Because, go talk to Tim from the board, he's got all the laws, yes, they can. Of course, we've got townships, for township, those township, they can go out there and they can enforce it. So you're gonna look at some.
Talking about an ordinance officer, we're not talking about law enforcement.
Right.
Excuse me,
Yeah.
man, excuse me. Law enforcement enforces the law. They're the ones that issue the tickets. But I'm just stating a fact. The ordinance officer takes care of ordinances within the township. They can't go out there and just write up, they have to write up that you violated the ordinance. And then there's fees involved if you don't comply. That's a little different than the law. When there's noise, there's a noise ordinance after 11 o'clock. The township has a noise ordinance. If it's fireworks, township has nothing to do with it. That's a state law. Did you know that? That's a state law. The township has nothing to do with that. Sure, you certainly can, the township has, but if it's a law, then they can enforce, they can give that person a ticket, what I'm saying.
There's fines that can be enforced at work.
They can be stated so, yes, there's no doubt about that. There's fines.
It's fines.
That's fines. That's not breaking the law. Breaking the law, if somebody objects, they can get arrested.
and if you're gonna charge a fine, there better be a ticket saying that the tenants were doing something wrong. If not, it won't be, there was no proof.
I'm just trying to explain that the ordinance officer doesn't go out there with a badge and say, I'm gonna do this and that.
Fine. So Go to the premise and say you're in violation.
Well, not, ma'am, you better be careful about that. He has the authority to write up a ticket that you violated the township ordinance
Right.
and you didn't follow these guidelines. Now, you bring up a valid point. If he comes on my property and gets out of hand, disrespectful, you can order him off your property. I'm just letting you know that.
Still saying that,
So
still write you up.
you can read, yes, ma'am, you're in violation of any ordinance, that's his job. If you're burning leaves, he can write you up for that. You don't have to ask it, tell you, it was enacted in 2014. You want to talk about house numbers? That was enacted in 2014. Do they go around and write people up? He sees it, he's supposed to do that. That's a violation of the ordinance. All right, enough said on that.
What's he write up, the renter or the property owner?
Property to property owner, because
So that ordinance officer can't go talk to those people renting, if they're not the property owners.
I can't answer that question.
Because I haven't looked at the one you gave us tonight with Fred, but the one that gave me at the office the other day. And it matches the last Lyon Township, is that if the owner does not live locally as a full-time resident, they have to have a designated contact or agent, two different words.
That's it.
That's. It's for that, people are getting
It's-
or part, somebody in between, somebody called. Like their close by.
That's in here too. Local agent concept. But we gotta cover this. Lyon Township approved short-term rental 1 year annual license fee of $300.
That's where we were at.
Where we're at and,
Do we want to keep that or
well,
what do you think, Ron?
I don't know, I'm hearing two sides to this. You say it's too much, all right? You say it's not enough, all right?
I think
What's-
people are thinking the ordinance officer. True.
well, we're gonna get into that.
He's got,
We're gonna,
I mean, $300 would help pay for him, but there's something he shouldn't be doing. He's on people's property.
He doesn't need to go on people's property, but if he sees they're violating this particular ordinance, he can write them up. And we can put in here, and I think it's in here, that you have more than a certain number of write-ups,
Right.
then you won't get your license will be revoked.
right.
Perfect. If you're written up 3 times, you're revoked.
So that's, the ordinance officer does have some power associated with this ordinance, and we should only be talking about this ordinance tonight, not.
I guess when it comes down to it, my opinion is, I hear two sides of it, leave it at 300. Too much, too little,
Well, you'll know after the first year if it's too little.
and they can change it
If
anyway.
things go, it's ever too little. You know what I mean?
All right, if we look at 300 for the license, the application fee is 25. You said it was what before? You want to keep that the same? 25 bucks for application fee?
Mark's next,
Somebody has to do the paper.
Well, just remember, they are being paid what they do. They're not working overtime.
That's.
Well, the reality is, if the supervisor is paid $30,000, that's what he gets. It's just spread out per month. That's his salary for the year. He don't even have to show up for months at a time if he didn't want to, or her. That's beside the point. All right, well, someone want to make a motion to, number 12? Well, how are we gonna do this? We already have a 12 maximum number of occupants.
That's why I think they took that out.
Well, then.
I'm confused which number 12 are we? Okay.
It says application of $25 may be updated by the township board resolution as needed.
Let it go.
Okay, so all right,
Let it go. Let them change it if they want to. We need to move on.
all right, then that's the way it is. Number 13. Lyon Township approved short-term rental year of license, $300. You said keep it the same. All right, number 14, short-term rental ownership is limited to not more than 4 dwelling units per owner within Lyon Township.
And that's totally new. That wasn't in the original, anything like that wasn't in the original,
That's right.
not that I remember.
Is it okay, Paul, to ask how many you rent out? Rentals, how many do you own?
I just have one now. I have 52.
I got one.
Separate.
Oh,
We know in the township,
We don't have that number. We don't have.
so there's software that runs on. that. Plus.
That's news. That's
Yeah.
new to us.
It's very. Very
What's it called?
granite does, GRANIC.
Can you do it? Also, GR.
RANICUS. They can look at specific to your township and see who is advertising to rent for play. Check and see if they've had applied and been approved. There's some upgrades here, this is upgrade. That along with $500 per day penalty violation of an ordinance, those two things. Yeah, he says an ordinance, and I said, how much time did the ordinance actually spend on STR? Well, the other, he said, after 4+ years, he would guess she spent no more than 30 minutes a week. As that, the T in the penalty, 500 a day per violation. People following the order. You could seriously. It'd be interesting to talk to the ordinance officer, but I found here.
Well, I think they voted one in recently, so that person might be available to the township. But you can certainly make an appointment.
He's happy,
You can certainly make an appointment to see the new.
reason to reinvent it.
Just think it was $2,000.
He said several. I said, maybe two. He said, I don't have any, but in that,
I'm looking for my notes, because there was a budget line.
oh, really?
There was a budget.
Yeah, was it 23,000
your people are doing.
Paul? Was it 23,000 you showed me?
I think so, I'm looking for it. So I think it's more than 3,000. What you got, that's for.
But he showed it to me.
Yeah.
It's in that, by the way, it's in that packet. That information primarily came from Paul.
I know, I'm looking.
One, like the big one. A lot. It's got all the paperwork in there that they have to fill out in order to get a license. A register,
I've gone over all that.
okay. He was on Duke, and while you're looking for that one, we'll go on to 15. Proof of consent from all residents located on the same private road or shared access easement as the short-term rental premise, if applicable.
But that's,
That's 15 in red.
In the black. It's saying.
yeah, that's why it's difficult to go through the red. It,
But you know,
Right.
but the standing bold, like you can. So if you can old with 17, the red one.
yep,
I see it. But just remember, the red is from the township board.
Well, if you're saying it's 17 that on the second page. that
Yeah,
is
on the second.
removed.
It says removed and restated.
Is it restated down below?
It's right here. Thank you.
All it is restated by them.
All right, right. Okay, I got you.
If a quick, you're on a private road. Okay, in the center. So I understand why that.
And that would have put,
I don't need to go with that.
that would have put something on, and which number? 17 right here. So it's like
Although it's located, same private road, side of the cabin.
to us. 17 in black.
And I don't think if applicable even needs to be
What
there.
does the word applicable mean?
Does it apply?
Does it apply?
Yes, I read it is that are on private road, shared access. Fine, having short-term rentals. Then you have to get sent all of the residents on private road or shared. And if they say no.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I don't understand, it was like a kidney and one or not. No, they're a neighbor, right next door. Why wouldn't you? How far it goes? Yes, I stuff it now.
Now, if I may interrupt. Because when I had a talk with Chris today, she was telling me she had to go around to all of her neighbors. And I wasn't through when I read 17 that you had to go around to all your neighbors to get their approval. Myself.
Some sort of later, the original ordinance did add. Patient. That any immediate neighbor, meaning both sides of you,
Yeah.
or immediately across the street. You didn't have to get their consent, but you had to inform.
Yeah, that's
of
correct.
your
That-
name,
that's-
your phone number. Your person that's gonna be your primary contact, if you aren't the primary contact, their name and their number. You gave them, you also had given some other documents in addition, I think, to those things.
Oh, I can see the word informed go up. The word consent.
Maintain our road so we can bring in twice as many cars and everything. You should have a say in it. That's true.
That's what the applicable is. Yeah.
Think that if you're on the line outside,
People should let everybody have a private road, but if you're on a main road. There's no way that you have to go to all your neighbors and ask them to. Or your short-term rent.
generally whatever happens.
Something.
Records higher, you know.
If you're in an association like Huntington Shores, they don't.
Or association.
Leon did tell me about. HOA, their rules trump,
Correct.
you might have more HOAs.
So one of the questions may be, what's all of your neighbors, how far do you take it going down the road?
Is on either side and across the street. If it's your private residence, right from your drive, not shared. It was the adjacent.
Is that the way this reads?
Not to get.
Alright. Right.
You're sharing that driveway. With some other residents. They're trying to come up with a different language and having to have consent. Not just for. Single flow.
And I ask a quick question, how would it populate that? How,
Let's say it again.
when you have a private road, how would the property speed it, part of the road?
So we just, no one
Just-
size, it's not needed, you have to understand, it was a development that was abandoned
Okay,
back in the seventies. So we have a 2-track going up. And we fix it up however we want to fix it up. But I'm not bringing in all this gravel we're going to when I've got,
I understand, I'm not,
it means that police don't want to come up there, we don't have gas up there, we don't have. Same storm, Lyon Township, I refrain, dog from.
I'm,
Well, yeah, okay.
Oh, this means
salted.
15, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's peculiar, you're right.
That is.
17 acre.
So 15 in red. 15 in red took a replacement for 17 in black, is what you're saying.
same thing.
Okay.
But it's the same.
Maybe on the road, right, I don't know.
Okay,
Kind of confused situation.
ladies and gentlemen,
Sorry.
15 in red. Let's all read that and then read 17 in black.
No, it's the opposite direction. Oh, well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Are they the same?
It's the same. Right, 7.
That's what we thought. We want get support. All right. Well, now the thing is, why did they do that? What was the motive behind that to confuse things?
Bunch of them got lumped together, but they are. In red, so. It was really.
See, but it's putting us all through it, you know. All right, 16. For initial short-term rental license approval, proof of complete septic and well inspection approved by the Central Michigan District Health Department as having been done in the last 3 years will be needed. We'll consider.
It's not premature.
I'm not done yet, just a minute. For continuation of a short-term rental yearly license, proof of complete septic and well inspection approved by Central Department will need to be done every 2 years. Question. When you rent your place, Chris, what's the duration of the year? Months? Several months?
Calendar in June. I shut it off. October 1st, but I only. Like this year, I didn't have anybody coming until the tail end of June. Pretty much I run July, August, and only through Labor Day and maybe that. Next week. The kids are going back to school, kids are still playing, people want July. And I thought like that, I slid it up.
I have the same experience. I don't. I'll leave it open for the whole year, but I get no list, no booking at all. Nothing for.
Shut my place right back. So I don't.
Well, I use my place.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I mean,
Please do.
I'm wondering if what we shouldn't do is just say, go back to the board. Say we had a short-term rental ordinance. And have them put together a detailed list of exactly how they want it or what they think needs to be changed from that. In very clear verbiage. You know, it's complex what they do when they changed a whole bunch of stuff. And then we're trying to compare it to the old one, and when you get into the comparison application, it complicates it because of the rewrite or remove and rewrite and all that. If we just told the board, tell us exactly what you want changed from the original short-term rental ordinance.
I know, we could be at this for.
it's for a long term.
Here?
It's not this really complicated thing about. Right,
Right.
it says, updated April 23rd, to all, the Lyon Township Board is requesting the Lyon Township City Commission consider
Right.
the attached ordinance draft regarding short-term rental. Should particularly consider whether this ordinance draft addresses the issue of the previous short-term rental ordinance, in which some areas were viewed as too limited, too restrictive, not restrictive enough for the happen.
Yeah, that's
So they're all in black, without all this red, and should have worked from this. This way. And for the short term rental people, already went through all the training and intercepted, inspected and paid for that stuff. I took that, I had to take that and lay it next to the little and read every line item. And take a highlighter, highlight what was there. And that was very accurate. But we're coming in with only talking about that, other people have their carbon ones, so. Someone to. Right, taking, that's kind of, and taking the two. Finding a software thing that said, hey,
Right.
find out the differences, please highlight them and rectify them. And then this was created.
it's just saying something.
This has not been published. by
Yeah, them like-
It's not, they're gonna pick up. I happen to be at the last meeting, getting it happening, so I've been reading line for line. Working the changes. Which I would have had with the 2 documents, so, well, that's what we're doing. Plan Conservancy has its position thing. But. Our neighbor,
We got a copy of it.
you won't. Oh, I brought copies of Ross County. There were, it was very easy to read. I'm getting very frustrated reading this. Very straightforward and very easy.
I think we feel over here.
Same, functional copies. To look at. The. Imagine taking the Ross County and that all the board members went away and all the new board members came in. They made a change to this one and they published it like this. And they said, is this one okay? Well, that's what I'm asking. I'm asking, but it does not read.
Does Rock Common have theirs already in force?
Yeah, 4 years. And it would behoove us to talk to the ordinance officer and anybody else. That's the page.
I read their ordinance and it's very comparable to the original one. I know. I don't know why all the changes want to be made. Verbalization, you know, it just remove this, add this. I went through it and I was just. Didn't make a lot of sense, but
Then like they had to revise it because errors that we're so concerned about. So what you have to.
they're not trying to reinvent the wheel, and I'm not sure why they are trying to. The board. I don't know.
The new board.
It would be nice to.
I think Dan's making a point.
But the-
We got to throw it back on them.
Ron,
Ball.
I like what Dan just said. Throw it back in their lap.
I agree with you, except I think there's going to be H to pay for this, all right? They may come back and say, why do we need a planning committee? You've now knocked down one. If you're taking this back to us to say, you go do it,
They had a planning commission go over this for 2 years.
Yeah.
And now you want to go over it for another year or 2 years? That's my point.
Unless we just make the recommendation.
Subcommittee. Is it important that along the lake at least they can just hope to have some continuity?
that would be fabulous.
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't that be great?
I mean, check people, whoever, you know, okay. I think I know them. We don't have to read that.
I don't know why we just don't make the recommendation, go back to the way it originally was.
No good, that's why.
Huh?
It was no good. They had things in there that were against the law. That's why.
In the original one? What?
We haven't named that.
I gave it all to Sam. Notes and everything together.
It's in your kid, that's Lisa? No,
No.
the thick one I gave you to read when you get home.
I'll put it under my pillow.
There you go. It's in there.
Okay.
Well. Does this sound like, for those that are knowledgeable on computers, I for one am not. Is this computer generated or was it done by, like ourselves sitting here and thinking, we're gonna discuss this and put it in this verbiage? Or was it done by, you send a computer and let it answer and then we put that in? So it's done by human. I'm talking about the one, the information that's in red.
That was,
My understanding is. This was. Take two unique act. The original ordinance act. The marked up document that the board presented. Because those existed as two completely different, it wasn't in red, there was nothing that told you what the change.
Right.
So when I was sitting down and tried to compare the two, I had to literally have two documents. Let them read. This spread was meant to, maybe it didn't do it fully and acceptable after all that, it's still used, but. That was a computer program that said, they have this document, please identify for where there's been any change, and if you find it, highlight it and write. I don't know that it was. But
Well, now that you've made it clear for me, his suggestion stands out. That they need detail in writing what they want. This, you're saying that
why didn't they strike through and then write the new language, or just strike and say remove the title? So that the law could just simply be privileged, not go through everything. They did not do it that way, so someone, your committee tried, in an attempt to try to make it so that we can see it.
so it's computer generated.
That was that.
Is the
There's
comparison?
documents, yes.
Yeah.
I did, the, so
It's two documents side by
it's a software.
Sorry. All right. Okay, all right. Hand brought up ballots. By us deciding that to send them a resolution, they need to sit down, reevaluate and handwrite exactly what they want.
I don't think you can do that without our representative taking that forward. I wish he was here tonight, all right?
Well,
But he's the one that's gotta be the bearer of bad news
look,
or good news. I don't
I'm about saying, I don't. Let it be me, it doesn't matter. It's up to us to make that decision. He is a board member and they need a board member on the planning commission. We decide to vote on whatever it may be. If we want to vote to send them a resolution for a better explanation on this particular matter, then that's our request. And then the ball's in their court, let them see what happens.
What if they see? In this view, so. In that, when you have to-
yeah.
What we did as the new approved, whether you guys like that. And I.
Probably what they will, just like they did on the chicken ordinance.
Just look on it.
No,
It's a.
this is what they came up with, this is what they gave us, which is a you know, it's a ordinance, proposed ordinance. But the problem was, we already previously had an ordinance. And so we were trying to figure out what were the changes, what did they change from the original ordinance to the new ordinance, proposed ordinance? Because there's differences. We don't know why they made the differences. But we're supposed to take a look and figure out
Differences.
what the differences were, which way is the better to go.
With the representative, can I tell us why they need those? Because that's important too.
Yeah. I don't know.
Or at least why you don't like the original wording in this, guesses on what we think they're,
And I think some going. They supposed to be. And then back, so you don't understand why you want to. Language is especially. Data,
take a year. On that book.
I think we're doing a good job.
It's from statement, why land. So, things like Land Conservancy appreciates that both Lyon and Garish townships are sensitive to this topic and are willing to pull the regulator local orders. That said, HLLC, just both townships, be cautious and with an eye toward strongly protecting the rights of landowners living adjacent to SPR operation, as well as the ecosystem of the Higgins Lake water. That has really pressure for like all of the additional, not just the boating over stuff that we can coming in to the SPR. Have to think about that. I would urge us to proceed cautiously and work together with Ferris Township. Look at what the Land Conservancy, they make some certain proposals in here be considered. So I'm okay with going slow and taking a deep breath, doing this right. As I said, I can live next. Look,
So we like the rest.
very long.
The rest.
I have to put that in for a while. When we get up, would be great, so. Right, that's one.
Well, let me say this, there's 9 pages of this. We're on page number 3. And you can't read my scratch, but if you can see the ink marks, the next 2. So I want, for the moment, let's get back to the red in 16. Yes, it is. Like, I'm sensing that 2 years. I'll read it again. 16 red. For initial short-term rental license approval, proof of complete septic and well inspection approved by the Central Michigan District Health Department as having been done in the last 3 years will be needed. For continuation of a short-term rental yearly license, proof of a complete septic and well inspection approved by Central Michigan Health Department will need to be done every 2 years.
That's too much.
Yeah, I don't think they need to be inspected every year.
I think we're in territory we don't belong,
We are not right.
all right?
We don't.
This is, we're not here to hinder this in this way. All right, to say, look, you know, we're putting these restrictions on. There's a whole entity that's out there that is. I,
State of Michigan. County. doesn't-
It-
All of a sudden. Short-term rental. Now be held to a different standard that every resident.
exactly.
Establishment.
If they want to do that, write a separate ordinance for this.
I don't think you can have it here. 16 at all. There is no ordinance in place, so it needs to be straight.
I think so.
There's not an ordinance.
Can we, maybe look at disagreeing with 16 altogether?
Absolutely.
All right,
What do you say, Raj?
go with a motion, make a motion.
If they ever get the septic ordinance, then everybody has to apply themselves to that ordinance. We shouldn't have this on here because they haven't approved the ordinance. There was an ordinance or something where you had to get it inspected every 10 years, bumped out every 3. But that should be followed, whatever home you have, and that should be by the other ordinance, not this one.
Use that new health of Pig Lake with all the subcommittees, including the short-term rental. The septic subcommittee, so maybe when they get it working on it. Maybe Lyon and Gary should agree, we're gonna take that on the homeowner. To be in, to comply. Look at that, wouldn't it be separate from the whole SDR thing? Just like the, for the farmer. That could be one of these two townships.
Now, 16 red. Is that like an add-on? Because I don't see it in.
Yeah, 16 is a new one. That's. If you get back to what the board gave us versus what
Just
that
stated.
they they added 16. 16 is brand new that was added. It's not. I mean, according to my notes, I did the old fashioned way of comparing the two, like this. And I had written down that 16 is brand new. 14 is brand new. Oh. $13 is new.
We took care of 13.
We didn't approve, right? You said it's not there.
But
13.
They just,
13.
they removed from the original and restated 13, 14, 15, 16, if you go to their.
I thought 13
So
was
we
13.
13, I guess, or what.
Actually, no.
I make that motion.
I'll make a motion that we don't accept 16.
I'll second it.
And Ron seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor of 16 being omitted? All together, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. No, we gotta do that yet.
Aye, short-term rental ownership is limited to not more than 4 dwelling units per owner within Lyon Township, because I know I asked you how many you had. Paul. You're right.
How'd you come up with 4?
Well, we don't know. See, that's the other thing. We don't know where they come up with this stuff. They're giving it to us, we gotta share it with you, and hopefully we can decide together what's best for the community.
Questions that one was, I think some of the previous language they were trying to find. Not associations, but. Are there places around Higgins Lake that still have like the primary residence on it? Kind of like Hope Lake, there's all those primary residents and then. Like if I were the primary owner, resident house, but I had these little cottages, what it is like,
Yeah, there's one on Thorpe.
what are they?
Used to live there.
I wrote their names here that they tried to find it. Is that what they mean? This?
I
It's
don't
like-
know.
Or is it I could own 4 individual addresses all the way
That's a real,
around Lyon Township. And
that's a real good question, Chris, how you define that particular one, because every cottage that's there, I call it Hotel Higgins Lake is what it used to be, all right? Is a short-term rental. The one gal that was there, that was there permanent, he made her open so he can get a short-term rental in it. Oh, but I don't know how that's defined. They do have only one septic, at least they did. And one well.
Because it goes back, so is that considered a resort? Because the language back higher under what's considered for rental in the said that a short-term rental cannot be considered or construed to include free bed and breakfast, hotel, motels, resorts, long-term tenant housing. Like rent it out for. I didn't know resort was something that had.
It used to be a resort. It used to be. All right, they touted it as a resort.
You don't see that anymore. So, yeah, you can think of the different resorts.
Yeah, Halls and Heberts and
You kick that woman out. So you can make more money, because here's a land conservancy, and I've been similar to that. Further change your character beautifully. Neither investors who purchase properties for the sole purpose of creating rental or their renters appreciate the fragile ecosystem. Speaking on behalf of our work, land conservative, that's to be remembered. Can't be greed over the golden rule. That's kind of where.
But I guess my thought would be on 14, maybe it doesn't require a yes or no, better definition around what their is around. It's whether that. Work. Category. Individual homes that person owns around here.
they could probably put in something like for non-contiguous, dwell, if that's what they meant. I,
That's why common we in Lyon Township. So why is there a number now? You know how many?
I was just trying to explain, maybe what they did, I don't know.
Sits. Probably different. If you're gonna limit the number, one person who might not get, and you could say, well, why do that? And get one, right? But if you're gonna limit it and number, it's a number that's reasonable and everybody gets a license or whatever. I don't know, but that goes back to, if you, I don't know that you're in any violation right here. I guess it's all with the town.
What happens if someone has 6 of them right now? Are you gonna say they can't rent out for 6? Are they grandfathered in?
I think that position.
Yeah, I think that.
What are other? I have. Don't have. They also have a problem, they have a. Okay. I'll remember.
That needs more definition. You, in my opinion, you are correct.
Number 14, Red?
Yeah.
Yes,
It needs more.
right.
Delete or examine?
I know on Thorpe and, Trigger Boulevard, there's 5.
Right.
All blue.
There's a specific committee through that HOHL organization. On short-term.
I don't know, they grandfathered in?
No, it's all for just. Need more time, like there's a specific committee. So,
For mine,
Well, health things like is for everybody, both people, all the,
That's fairly new, isn't it? It's fairly new.
yes, new.
are there Lyon people on that board?
Yes, there are a lot of people on the number of subcommittee, steering committee, probably 8 or 10 individual subcommittee,
Really?
science, yeah.
Is that-
I say, I'm sorry about the rules, these people are doing this as main vote. Septic, a road runoff, advisors of one, science, journal. More.
And I believe, I better keep quiet. Lyon Township Board, I don't think is,
Represent,
they don't support it.
Right.
They're against it, which I don't understand.
That meeting. You can see how some people perceive. it. And maybe, but that's not, wasn't there, and it's not how I heard it. So when I went to the organization meeting, I guess it's a, I thought. There's some, and I communicated to the leader, Jim Walker. At that meeting, that's not. How I perceive. However, and see how somebody else. That's all. And they have asked, the Lyon Township Board has asked for them to communicate with them, all the people in the steering committee, all the names on the individual committees, so. Maybe that'll be. Lyon. But I know Lyon residents that are on the. Primary input, we all gotta work. With people.
Well, number 14, we're saying we need a better definition of what they mean, what their intent is. Okay. Maybe you can write that up and send it back to the township. Is there anything else we've been this year that we need to consider?
definition, or why did they put it in there?
And why?
Oh, yeah. But it wasn't there before.
Thank you. Okay. Are we done with 11 through 16?
Just,
No, we didn't. I didn't write it down.
Well, I think we should just,
verbally said
yeah, keep it, well, I think it was keep it the way it is, but see, this is, in red is what they want to add in.
You guys approved the 25.
Yeah, we have to approve that they have number 12 and 13. I don't think so, no.
No, we didn't.
Make it official, because you said you were paying already $100 before on your application. But at the time it was $100, $100.
It's going to. You wanna,
Make a motion on 12 and 13. Application of $25 fee be updated by the township resolution as needed. 13, in Lyon Township approved short-term rental, 1-year annual license fee of $300 payable with the effective date of this ordinance. The annual license fee is not refundable. The fee may change by the township board resolution as needed.
I'll make the motion since I was the one that said, leave it alone, so.
Okay,
I'll second.
so we're gonna leave number 12 and 13 as is.
as is written
As
in,
As is written.
on moved and Roger second. Any discussion now? I think we done that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ayes? And 11, 12 and 13 are. So.
In my mind, we're getting towards what I feel is the end of this meeting, all right? I can't stay with this whole thing out like that.
We,
Not getting through all of this,
well, I didn't think we'd be able to anyway, Ron, but I'm
okay?
happy we got through 1/3 of it. Said it'd be 9 pages, we covered 3, but see, your input helps us,
Yes,
no question about that.
it may have slowed us down, but it gave us a lot of info, honest, that. Yeah,
The line was in.
yeah.
I still like his idea of sending the township a letter.
Yep.
Saying get through it.
Make a motion.
Just like,
Yeah.
Well, we did that with the chicken. So, we're just gonna need,
So I guess I make a motion, that we adjourn the meeting.
yes, do we have a sec?
Well, you gotta go through the rest of the agenda quickly.
Well, that's,
Yeah,
thank you.
You need to get through it.
We're gonna shoot. Old business further discussion review on the STR ordinance as presented by Lyon Township Board. I think we've done that.
Yeah.
Old business that is not listed unless you guys have something old. No,
No,
nothing new? No.
no,
Correspondence? No.
no.
Well, you had the one.
Well, I had correspondence from, Kevin,
Burn.
Kevin Hobbs
Yes,
and from, I think I read this before from, I did, I think. Erica Smith,
Or we,
I read the letter last time.
yes.
or we could table.
And we did get a lot of information from Paul. RACAL,
And last name,
yes,
Raska.
thank you. I had misspelled, it's like mine, join the club. Okay, oh, here we go. Since nobody said anything lately, public comment,
I do have public comment.
can you make it quick?
Yes,
Thank you.
I just want to caution the board, like local agent. What you really think that person can do, a local agent? There's not much that they can do. They can call and get furnace repaired and stuff like that. But if you're expecting the local agent to go over there, quiet down someone, you're gonna get a local person shot and killed. When there's a noise or fireworks going off, that's the job of the police, law enforcement, not a local agent. Once that property gets rented, you have no right to go on there and try to tell them to do, to stop doing something. You're thinking that, then. Yeah, but
it's worked out well.
I'll tell you what the judge told me. I'm not law enforcement. Even though I own the property, I cannot go on that property and tell someone it's too loud. Police have to come in and determine that.
Mhm.
They have different electronic equipment that'll do noise. And I'm just cautioning you by putting a local agent, if you're thinking that they're gonna go there and be able to stop that stuff, they can't.
Yeah,
These are the only ones that can do it.
yeah, I was thinking a local agent was more along the lines of, the person, the renter locked himself out. And he needs to call the local agent because the local agent has a key, can come and unlock the door and do those type of things. As opposed to leasing.
But when I was talking with Harry, he was given a whole different
Okay.
opinion of what a local.
Well, then
agent-
that's something that we should probably make sure that we put, that we try to quantify what a local agent's responsibility is.
Perfect. Because why would we gotta give that local agent's phone number and email address to all the neighbors? The only thing that they're gonna be able to do is do something maintenance wise. They can't control fireworks or anything like
Right.
that.
It'd be interesting, I'd be willing to talk ordinance on. How local agent situation would. Of their ordinance. That's kind of. I may have said late. Late is about, it's around, I will do.
That'd be great.
That would be.
That'd be great.
And I just want to add one more thing. I did find that budget. They were budgeting $7,000 for that company to do search-ins. And that was only for 40 properties, 40 licenses they were gonna give out. $7,000.
Just talk. They don't have a limit. I'm suggesting we don't. There's so many that we don't even know. All right, I'll go check that figure when I get that.
Right here.
You want to do?
I'll let you take a picture of it. That's my only copy.
Okay, anybody else real quick, Blake? Okay, we're moving on to board comments. Anybody have a comment on the board? Anybody? We're all set?
I'm gonna say, I'll make everything in red a little bit more legible for you. I can do that.
I think we're doing,
Well, you should do it. You bring me with you.
Yeah, then you won't need that.
All right, I think you can probably just make a page.
I can blow it up.
Yeah. All right, next meeting, gentlemen. But there, we need to come up with what's your pleasure? We pages tonight, with a lot of helpful help from the audience. So, what say you? Today being September the 8th.
Do it at the end of the month. I think the sooner the better.
Well, we're gonna keep it on a Monday. 2 weeks from now is 22nd is on a Monday. That's 2 weeks from now. For the 29th, that's 3 weeks out.
Available both of those days.
And you're,
I'm okay with either one.
Either one.
Ron?
Either one. Make the big say.
I'll look up real quick. Second. Next Lyon Township Planning Committee meeting will be on September 22nd at 7 p.m. Yeah. All right. Who wants to make a motion to adjourn now?
I make a motion that we adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you very much. You've been helpful to us.
You were telling enough to make a copy of Torch Lake Township job description and ordinance enforcement officer. I just get that called right off.